think if I summarise that, I think it's necessary to draw a distinction between social media in the context of using it for work and social media used at work, which is personal social media. So in the context of using it for work, to me the key question is, what value are you deriving from it as a business? People were already saying here, there's loads of different forms of social media. The messaging is nuanced per form of social media. Some people are looking to the website first, others might be looking to LinkedIn first. So we're facing a sort of plethora of different formats. And so you've got to be asking yourself sensible questions about what value am I deriving from this. And that will be different for every business and its unique set of circumstances. But we all know that the use of social media for demonstrating what our business does and for its growth and its core messaging is likely to have a value, and that means engaging our own people in it. You've got to work out for yourself what that will mean for your business. In terms of the use of social media personally at work, I remember being asked quite a few years ago now to do a TV interview when KCC chose to ban personal use of the internet at work. And I remember just thinking of the image of sort of trying to hold back the tide with a feather at the time. And I probably annoyed the BBC because my approach was to say, well, even at that stage, it didn't seem practical or realistic to do that. So I suggested that instead they ought to have tried to turn that round to a positive and say, during certain times of the day, feel free to use the internet. This is pre-social media. Feel free to use the internet to do your Tesco shop online. So lunchtime or break times, why not do your online shop? Because we're a flexible employer. We're an employer that will actually be working in a way that will work for you as a workforce. But no, total ban, because they weren't prepared to engage with managing the challenge that they faced. Now, that's no longer an option. The reality is you have to manage, because a person will just pick up their iPhone now and do that shop anyway. So are you going to engage with managing the challenge you've got, or aren't you? So at that point, you've got to start asking yourself a few questions. How do you manage the behaviours around it? And that's not a new problem. We've been having to manage behaviours for many years in all sorts of ways. You mentioned people being reporting absence on social media. That's true, but a few years ago they didn't report absence because they couldn't get to a phone box. So you didn't even know whether they were coming in or not. Quite a few years ago. But that was a common thing. People couldn't report absence because they weren't well enough to get out of bed and use the phone, or couldn't go to a phone box and so on. So actually it's a different problem, but we always had a problem to manage, and we've still got a problem or a challenge to manage. It's just changing the techniques of how you manage that. So the first thing is about promoting a positive working environment where people actually like the place that they work, so that they're less likely to slag it off in social media. It's about creating a work focus at work, so an attitude where you do have ways of managing productivity and being aware of levels of productivity, other tools for doing that, so that there's an understanding and an expectation that at work comes first. So creating an environment that's flexible but focused. And I think it's about relationship skills, because that's come out quite heavily here. You're going to have to positively manage the development of relationship skills. Just about every business is still relationship driven. So, if you phone Amazon, the ultimate sort of online experience, shopping with Amazon, one of the things they get stunningly well, it's actually quite difficult to get through to a person, but there's a route, and if you get through to a person, they're usually stunningly good at the personal bit of handling the query. I'm sure there are exceptions to that. But developing those relational skills is your responsibility if you want to get the best out of your people. And so it's about managing in a new environment. It's never going to be about sort of being able to hide away and hope this challenge isn't going to be there. And I think the other thing, just to note there very briefly, is about fear. There is so much information that's come out, and there are so many messages in social media terms that a few negatives are no longer likely to kill you in the way that a few negatives had used to kill you. We've quite often dealt with this, and I've seen some awful, aggressive, unpleasant campaigns online, and very often the best way to deal with those is not to feed that fire with oxygen. So if you write a cease and desist letter as a lawyer, what will happen is it will get copied and put online. So I've seen 2 of these handled recently. One, they did the cease and desist letter and it went wild. And the other, you just starved it of oxygen. It did nothing and monitored it, and it went away. So it's sort of learning new techniques to do this. So it's managing, not banning, that is likely to work for most organisations, I'd suggest to you.